My name is Evan Frendo, and I'd like to tell you about a talk I'll be doing at TESOL France on Sunday afternoon. Now, I've been working in business English teaching and corporate language training and ESP for the last 30-odd years. And one of the areas I'm really interested in is in trying to understand how people actually use English in the workplace, how they actually use English to communicate with each other from people all over the world. And one area of research which has really been looking into this in a lot of detail, I think, is BELF research. That's English as a business lingua franca. Now, over the years, 10, 15, 20 years, our understanding of how people use English as a lingua franca has changed. And so what I'd like to do in this talk is just summarize briefly some of these changes over the years, look at what we mean by BELF today. So we'll look at some definitions, look at how, for example, it has changed from a focus on form, perhaps in the mid-90s or early noughties, and to nowadays much more of a focus on multilingualism, on translanguaging, for example. And then we'll spend some time looking at or summarizing a handful of recent research articles. Now, some of these articles you may have read yourself, some of them you may recognize the authors, some of them are pretty well known in this field, some of them you may never have heard of at all. But we'll be looking at a range of articles just to get a flavor of what sort of thing the researchers are looking at, what they've been discovering, what the evidence tells us about workplace communication. So we'll be looking at things like small talk, how people use small talk, or how people actually become BELF users. You know, what's the learning process? How much of it happens in classrooms and how much of it happens on the job? We'll be looking at communication strategies and how these are covered in business English teaching materials, for example. We'll be looking at the multilingual reality of working in multinationals and what is actually happening. How do people actually use English? What do we know about this? We'll be looking at BELF pragmatics. We'll be looking at a number of things anyway. I won't go into the whole list here. But suffice it to say, what I hope to do in this session is just cover what we mean by BELF nowadays, as opposed to what it used to mean. I'd like to look at some of these articles and really it's the bread and butter, I think, of what we as business English teachers, as ESP professionals should be interested in. You know, what do people actually use English for and how do they use it in the workplace? So I hope that if you're in this area, in this field of English language teaching, then you'll be able to come to my session. It's on Sunday at 12:30. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.